My HGV Insurance is proud to sponsor Trucking TV. Let us take the stress out of arranging your HGV insurance.
Well, welcome to Trucking TV. We're running about 10 minutes late. I'm really sorry to say that, and that's really because I pressed the wrong button, but that's kind of what happens in this business. Okay, well, we're doing something a bit different tonight. My name's Chris Gosling, this is Trucking TV, and I'm assisted tonight by a man called John Miller, who's kindly given up an hour or two of his time to come and give me a hand doing the technical presentation, because as I think you saw in our early efforts at a live show, then life is a little bit more complex than you think it's going to be. Okay, what we're going to talk about first is just briefly that accident on the A12. We haven't really got much detail, but if you saw a piece on the TV news, that looks truly awful. Our sympathies, I think, really should go out to the driver and other people who are involved in that, including the emergency services. What an awful looking accident, how horrible, and what can you say? You have to say something like, I hope everybody's alright, but honestly it doesn't look as if everybody is alright, does it? It looks pretty awful, so we'll just sort of go around with our fingers crossed for a while. Okay, sad about that, but let's move on to our next item, or our first item of the evening, John, and see what interesting things are happening. Well, this for a start is a survey. A couple of days ago I was contacted by a gentleman who would like to start his own truck stop, and I won't tell you where it is because obviously it's at the moment a bit confidential as he's building up to it, but he's actually got a survey out to try and get an idea of what drivers want from a truck stop. It's pretty straightforward really, but he says it's quite hard to get an idea. He knows what he would like, but what he wants to do is know what you would like. So perhaps after the show we're going to put up a link to his SurveyMonkey survey page. There's only 9 questions. Do him a favour and fill in the answers. You don't need to put in any personal information whatsoever. There are no personal information questions, so just give him an idea, because it would really help him make some decisions about what he's going to do with his truck stop. So from there we'll move on to this story, which is one that we showed a couple of days ago on the Facebook channel. I find myself at something of a loss looking at this story. As you see, there was a man who was appearing before a committee of MPs to talk about the conditions under which he worked at the well-known and famous Hermes delivery people. He was actually married to a lady who was very ill with cancer, and I think she was really dying, you know, for want of a better word. And he asked his management if they could arrange his shifts so that he could look after her as best he could. What transpired, I think, was that his management lumped him up with loads of shifts and said, get on with it, don't worry about that, we don't care, whatever, and that man really suffered. I would like to know about other people's similar experience. This was a job where the guy was employed on that famous 0 hours basis, where he was told what shifts he was doing literally, I think, the day before he did them. Oh, you're working tomorrow and the next day from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening, thanks very much, bugger off, see you then. And that is, for a guy in his situation, my goodness, that must be awful. I have been in a similar situation when I was a young guy, and you can't get your head around it at all. And you expect bosses, companies, people to treat you in a reasonably friendly and sensible way. Instead, what happened to this man was that they lumped him up with shifts. He turned the shifts down because he couldn't do them. He had to look after his wife. So what they did was stop giving him work altogether. Go away. He wrote to the managing director, no reply. He complained to managers, we don't care. And this kind of thing, well, it's awful, isn't it? I would like to know from people who've worked in that kind of job, they call them gigs, because you only get the 1 or 2 or 3 goes at it, whatever. Someone who's worked in the gig economy, or people who've worked in the gig economy, I would like to talk to you specifically on the phone, specifically if you no longer work for them, because if you work for them still and talk to me, I think you'd probably lose your job. But I'd like to do a feature about this and actually get inside how this all works. We're going to talk later about drivers' pay salaries, drivers' wage scales, how drivers work within the industry and how managers manage drivers. But I'd like to first of all deal with this thing with 0 hours contracts and the so-called gig working. If you know about it, if you've done it, get in touch with me, let me know, because I'd like to hear from you. Okay, next on tonight's list, well, just a little bit of warning on a story that we're going to be coming up with very soon, and that story is this one. It's about a new inland shipping port, I guess you'd call it really. It's really a road rail interchange, and it's called the East Midlands Gateway. The East Midlands Gateway is going to be a major warehouse park with a rail terminal. It connects to the motorways directly. It's actually sited right beside a motorway service, a motorway junction. So you will be able to see it from the motorway, go straight onto it, straight out of the warehouse, onto the motorway anywhere in the country. And it's going to have a railhead as well, so that boxes will be transported to that East Midlands Gateway from Felixstowe, from London Gateway, from Southampton, from wherever, and it's going to cut away a lot of haulage work, really, because they're talking about having 16 trains a day, which is, let's say, 75 containers per train. 16, that's about 1,200 containers, I guess. A lot of containers. So there's a lot of haulage going to not be there anymore, but there's going to be distribution work in the area, which I guess is already done. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. We're going to do a story about that on Friday and bring you right up to date with what's happening on that East Midlands Gateway. Should be open in 2 or 3 years' time. It'll be interesting. Okay, and now we're going to depart and go over and see what we... Please? I'm hitting him, poor boy, poor John. Okay, so that is us for tonight. This is a bit of a short show because, to be honest with you, it all went wrong at the beginning when I didn't press the right button. But what we've got tonight, well, that was me presenting the show, John Miller assisting me, and we're sponsored by my HGV Insurance, and they're nice guys if you run a small business. Okay, that's us for tonight, and we'll see you again on Sunday.
Why not give us a call on 0161 410 1061 when you're arranging your HGV insurance, or visit our website at www.myhgvinsurance.co.uk or our Facebook page at HGV Insurance, and let us take the stress out of arranging your HGV insurance.